Yeah, well, so far so good, of course, for Dignitas. They have started the series out 2-0. Now, we are keeping the sides the same, as Dignitas had side choice. They chose red side for Game 3. If it goes to Game 4, they'll stay the same again, as Fusion has chosen blue side for Game 4. So, these same sides as last time. Finally, the Ziggs ban does come through. They removed that from Shifter. We'll see if that opens up enough room. Hecarim was the ban they dropped for this, so we'll see if Hecarim is that important, or if Sejuani or Sivir still stays at the top of the order.
Yeah, last game Fusion picked a team composition that was completely reliant upon Sivir getting super fed, which is honestly not that reliable of a team. And when you do a protect the carry strategy one game, usually the next game you go to something a little bit more versatile, as we see with the changed up on the first pick.
I actually really like Sejuani here a lot. It's, I think, Nintendo's best champion. He's very successful on it. A great team fight starter. This is the first time we really get him on one of these types of champions in this series. Nidalee Game 1, Rek'Sai Game 2. Not the same team fight power as the Sejuani. And Dignitas, maybe not on the Sivir hype train themselves. Of course, Hecarim being left up means that is insta-locked by Gamsu. But they still want the Alistar. Of course, we've seen Kalista crush Sivir. And Kalista Alistar, of course, a great duo as well. So Fusion going to hop right into that matchup.
Surprising, actually, that the Alistar was picked here. Maybe they thought Trance would play it instead.
He does play it.
It's a bit of a denial pick in that sense. But the Sivir is also a denial pick. It's one of the biggest things that Dignitas has used to succeed this year. They're probably okay doing the Kalista Alistar combo again with a heavy dive team. I am just skeptical about giving away the Sivir so easily.
Yeah, well, it's the plan for the team comp, though, all the same. Dignitas is going to think that they've got what it takes to crush Sivir in the team fights. Fusion, though, looking like a great 5-on-5 team. Sejuani Rumble, Sivir to get everyone into range. So far, looks like a pretty good team fight comp for Fusion. And I want to see what support they will pick up on top of that one as well, because Janna definitely did not work. Also, with an aggro team like this, you want more engage or just more follow-up. Zingy is now pushed down to Zac here. Back on
Zac, baby.
And Corjade actually going to go Lucian here, so a new look, a more kiting AD carry to get maybe away from this Sejuani Rumble scariness.
Yeah, he needs to be able to get away from the Rumble ultimate at, even if it gets maxed ranged on him, a quick dash out of the way. So 3 different AD carries in 3 games for Core. A Zingy as well, 3 different junglers. So some champion pool diversity there.
All right, Janna maybe does work a bit better just because she's so good against Zac, but still not my favorite 2-on-2 champion. And still not an offensive tilt either, since Fusion could just really use the ability to crush team fights down. We'll see, though. It does fit a couple of parts of the composition. Gives you turret killing power, things like that, so we'll see. 5 seconds more to go, and Huhi is going to get Zed now in the matchup, so his 3rd champion in 3 games. Even though his Urgot was very good in Game 1, back onto an Assassin, Zed pretty good at knocking around champions like Lucian.
Yeah, and if Team Dignitas wanted to take Urgot, it would be a full physical damage team as well, which is non-ideal. So a decently safe Zed pick there, actually. Yeah, Fusion definitely... This is their strongest team composition yet, in my opinion.
I think so.
It's versatile. It's not directly countered by what Team Dignitas has. Mix of damage, strong team fighting, and hopefully the ability to lane swap.
That's true, yeah. Lane swap would be kind of nice. It's less of a bad matchup, though, at the very least. Sivir into Lucian, not nearly as horrible as Corki into Sivir or Sivir into Kalista, so maybe not horrible. Last few seconds, though, for Shifter to make his choice of champion. Knows he's facing Zed. We've seen Ahri be one of the picks against it, and that is going to be the lock-in here. Shifter has had some amazing Ahri performances as well. This would be a game that would put his team back into the North American LCS. And Shifter empowered to be a playmaker here in this one.
That's going to be what he has to do this time. If he gives up CS and lane pressure to Huhi will impact the other lanes heavily with Zed this time. So Shifter does not have that freedom that he had on Ziggs to passive lane farm, because he can shove up so easily on Ziggs after the minion wave gets pushed by the enemy.
Yeah, and in terms of Fusion fixing their mistakes that they've had throughout this series, I think this comp also helps bridge those gaps here. Huhi loves to split push. It's like his default mode in League of Legends, and he's on Zed, who's great at it. They've got Rumble and Janna and Sivir to wave clear, to play more defensively. The dive from Dignitas is stoppable somewhat by Janna. They mostly dive with their bodies. There's no sedge to start the fight from range. So I think compositionally Fusion stand a very good chance here in working well with their strength as well as kind of covering up their weaknesses. But of course, we've seen time and again, Dignitas just make it work as CoreJJ and KiwiKid just do so much heavy lifting.
Yeah.
See how it pans out in this
game. A lot of it will have to do with the lane swap. Even though this is the best composition matchup that Fusion has had, it still doesn't necessarily answer the question of whether or not they can lane swap properly, or if they can't lane swap, actually do well in a 2v2.
We'll see what happens here. Let us know who you think is going to win and claim this spot in the North American LCS. Tweet hashtag FSN win or hashtag DIG win to @LOL Esports. They're going to toss up 2-0 in the best of 5. They've got 3 chances now to cement that spot back in for 2015 Summer. Right now, backs against the wall. Fusion need to win 3 in a row to make their way in. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Here we go for Game 3.
Yeah, Fusion going to need to win 3 games in a row here to make it into the LCS. It's been a team that has had so much hype and numerous chances, you know, in the promotion tournament to try and make it in, but they've never been able to quite get that last barrier over. And this is the fight coming up.
Oh, great flash by Chunky Fresh. Could have been killed right off the bat.
Wow. Wow. And, you don't necessarily want to fight against a Rumble early game. Flamespitter can crush you in an extended fight like that. I think that's the reason we didn't see KiwiKid flash in for a 5-man pulverize, which he could have done.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a lane swap game for you. Dignitas wanted to get a deep ward for the lane swap. Or sorry, Fusion wanted to get a deep ward for the lane swap, and Team Dignitas was laying in wait for it, but they didn't wait quite long enough.
And all the trinket wards already on cooldown now for Fusion, so they have no chance of getting these deep wards down. They did get one from Nien, though. He snuck off to the right-hand side. He got one between Tier 1 and Tier 2 turrets on that far right side of the map. So he might see something for his team. Nice sneaky move by him. Sweeper already used by Nintendo as well.
We're going to see it right now. I feel like CoreJJ is going to walk past a ward, and
no recall.
If Fusion wants to lane swap, they would have recalled at that moment. But they're deciding to do straight up lanes. This is, at this point, a choice because they had the wards to do so. They would have been a little bit late to lane.
Yeah,
for sure. But at this point, they have absolute knowledge of where CoreJJ is.
They happen in the 2-on-2. They see Alistar is late to lane. They could zone out CoreJJ for a few seconds as the lane starts. And here we go. Similar tank junglers for these two guys. Over and over and over again, Nintendo has been out-farming Azingi and been only slightly behind in lane pressure in this series. We'll see if it happens once again in this matchup.
Well, now we're going to be in a matchup where it's not like a tank versus an early game pressure dude, and it's actually tank versus tank.
Which is why I'm like, all right, we'll see if it's like different in this one, or if Nintendo just continually out-jungles Azingi here. Chunky Fresh one-on-one with Gamsu. Chunky Fresh has been very successful on Rumble in the past. I like seeing him on this one now. I know he's playing a lot of Scion, but he's so far done, like, honestly, in my opinion, like, decently in the one-on-one. It's just the gank pressure that turned him around. So Rumble could be a high-impact champion for him. And as you mentioned before, Shifter, if he doesn't actually... Oh, this is a really nice one. Good damage to the Trance. Howling Gale hits 2, and a good Ricochet as well from Nien. Puts a good trade back.
Yeah. So not a bad start for them right there. This is actually the best start they've had because they didn't get... remember, last game, Dignitas did Gromp, whereas Fusion did not do Krugs. And they immediately walked lane with a disadvantage. Then Fusion went backed up and tried to do Krugs. This time they actually have no immediate disadvantages in lane. So they are starting even, and we'll see how they play this matchup. Additionally, I don't think it's a terrible 2v2 matchup either. Janna,
yeah, it's fine,
and Sivir versus Lucian and Alistar.
Yeah, I think it's totally okay. It's really hard to spell shield Lucian Qs, and you pretty much can't spell shield Alistar Headbutt Pulverize, but you still got the ability to deal damage back. The burst isn't so high that you can't just counterattack here. KiwiKid forced to play safely. Great spell shield by Niem. Predicts the Q coming out. Gets some mana back for it.
Nice. And they're keeping him shoved in too, so.
Yeah. And with this little attack damage, of course, a few patches back, Lucian's passive got nerfed, so it does very little damage at low ranks. Normally Lucian's like really easy to like last hit casters with because the second shot does a lot, but no longer, so it's pretty difficult. Wow, forced to flash! Didn't think he could dodge a Zingy's E, and that is a summoner down for this poor Zed.
As far as junglers go, I would say Zed is one of the best in ganking mid lane specifically, because he can come around from those brushes and reach the middle of the lane with only a few points in his elastic slingshot.
Nicely done by the Zac, then Zingy doing some good things. And we've seen over and over again Nian predicting the piercing lights come out from Core JJ. He dashes in, Nian's like, E, don't even try it. And he lands the Boomerang Blade on the way out as well. So yeah, Nian and Trance, a great job so far in the 2-on-2. That's worth watching for. Overall farm very, very much equal in every lane. You're seeing, what, ±2 down the line?
Yep.
Nintendo actually is slightly behind, so that's interesting of note, but overall, pretty equal gold here. Maybe this is what Fusion finally wants, a decent matchup where they can get out of the laning phase.
Ooh, gonna miss all these.
That one they get. All right, good job. Good job, Kiwi Kid.
So even bottom lane, like you said, pretty much even every lane. Although Nian is pretty low on mana. Oh, there's some aggression.
Really nice headbutt pulverize. And of course, Nian now out of mana. You're right, can't trade back on a Core JJ who went super hard. Q comes through, spell shields the W, but he's almost dead. Forced to burn, summoner heal.
The aggression that Team Dignitas is displaying in this bottom lane is also incredibly risky. They have no eyes on Sejuani. They do not have river wards, aside from a pink that Zingy just placed, I think. And those are some incredibly aggressive dashes in, but they are not being punished. Instead, they're able to push Nian.
I think they might have seen Nintendo North River when he went for Scuttler. I'm not sure on that one, though. Okay. So, yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if I can correct you or not on that one. There was a chance they saw him. Otherwise, you're right. Could have just been killed by a Sejuani out of nowhere. Either way, though, these guys now have Nintendo in the back pocket. He's in the southern jungle once again, so another dive by Dignitas could easily be turned around. Level 5 will be met by Fusion after this wave. That will be a big deal. Nian needs the extra surge of mana. Good spell shield again. Wow, that was actually just a reflex one. Well played by Nian over here, but as much as I'm singing his praises, it is still a lead for the Dignitas duo lane.
Yeah. They did spot Nintendo at 5 minutes and 30 seconds in that side lane, and then went aggressive shortly after, so it was somewhat smart aggression there by Team Dignitas. I stand corrected. I went back and checked.
Cool. Chunky Fresh is 6, a Zingy 5, waiting in the wings. Of course, Hecarim close as well, misses the E, short changes it. Gamsu does not decide to go for the dive, was afraid of Equalizer killing him out of the turret. Nian, once again, bad side of a trade, burns his flash for this one off of the exhaustive Kiwi Kid. And Dignitas do have a nice lead for themselves, but thankfully it's just in time for the BF sword recall. If that was one wave sooner, Nian would have been in a pretty bad spot.
Yeah. Instead, they get the item thresholds at the right time. This one, Team Dignitas, one game away from trying to make it back into the LCS. They've had such a good series, but this team composition is letting the Sivir go and then not winning the 2v2. The greatest strength the Team Dignitas has had is not there this game. Great timing there.
Nice by Huhi. Dodges Charm, then dodges the Elastic Slingshot afterwards, but that is still ult for ult. Ignite used by Shifter, strangely enough, and Huhi actually healthier than Shifter on the end of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Shifter would ignite that early in on that one. Maybe afraid of Huhi actually all-hitting him.
Yeah, maybe.
Once his charm missed.
Either way, heads up play by Huhi equals CS there. Cutlass versus Arm Guard, as we do see Shifter back up himself. That looks like his first recall of the time. Whereas Huhi had already had Cutlass for that one. You can see it's on cooldown because this one, Nintendo goes back to his own red buff. Same thing for a Zingy, so junglers matching up quite evenly. Although, once again, a Zingy has been constantly ganking. Is down 400 gold as a result, though. We're finally seeing the farm start going Nintendo's way once again. But worth it for all the flashes burned, I would say.
Yeah. The thing is, Zingy, with all the ganks he's given for Shifter, burning the Zed flash early, they're split in lane.
That's actually true.
And his mid laner burned ult and ignite on the enemy. It's been allowing Shifter to stay even, but it hasn't really given them an edge. Gamsu in the top lane does have an edge.
Yeah, up 18 now, burning the flash from Chunky Fresh. Definitely seemed to do a lot for him. Of course, ulti ignite Hecarim, very scary for a Rumble player. Shifter gets his own blue buff 9 minutes, 15 seconds into this one. Zed on his way topside. Is this a roam by who? He gets pinged out by a ward.
Yeah, I mean, it's an attempt at a roam. They're trying to use the time that Shifter was back to try and take his own blue buff.
We'll see that
pull off
working.
a roam.
A Zingy on the bot lane. Here's the hard engagement, and Head is right there as well. Flash early by CoreJJ means he gets caught by the Glacial Prison. A whole bunch of burst and trance ults them both back in. Here's the TP for CoreJJ, but a similar one for Chunky Fresh. Or sorry, for Gamsu, I should say. Ults right out after the teleport, though. Pretty waste it's there. They do not all in
Yeah. That's the teleport that you cancel normally.
Yeah.
Because the fight is decided by the time you're teleporting in. But Chunky Fresh and Gamsu played a game of chicken right there because they started their TPs at the same time. If Gamsu goes in, Chunky Fresh has to go in. Therefore, Gamsu never canceled. So they both ended up just running away.
If Chunky canceled, they'd kill him, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting interaction right there. But that being said, Nintendude finds the first blood gank. Sneaking in through the river, preying on the aggression of CoreJJ and Kiwi Kid. That's where most of Nintendude's successful ganks have come from this series. In Game 1, he punished Gamsu's aggressive EQing on Jarvan. In this game, he punished CoreJJ aggressively dashing in on Lucian.
Really good read. It was really clever, too, because Huhi walked top lane, and so Dignitas was like, all right, the mid laner can't roam. We can pressure bot lane, Nintendo's already there. Just a lot of good things happening in concert. Ends up working out very well in their favor. Good punishment on the aggression. All this turns into Fusion holding an 800 gold lead. Most of that money actually sits on Nintendo. He's up about 700 himself. First blood plus all the farm he's gotten. When he recalls, he's got like $1,000 to spend right now. And we'll see what other impact this guy can have. He had the option of first picking Sejuani last game. Opted not to, and now...
Big roam.
Flashless Chunky Fresh. Charm does miss, but a Zingy here as well. Not much as Rumble can do. Pops ult, goes for Shifter. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Are you serious? Chunky Fresh gets a kill 1v3.
The level 9 Rumble with the Danger Zone Flame Spitter. That's why it's called the Danger Zone, because it is a very dangerous thing to be in. At that point, Shifter, when he missed the charm, a Zingy not willing to burn ultimate, Gamsu not having a second ultimate. It's like because Team Dignitas had them outnumbered, they weren't willing to commit spells to it, and they thought they'd just get it for free.
Oh.
Well, they were wrong.
Nintendude with the Cinderhulk pulls turret aggro, almost dies because of a headbutt pulverized there. That's a bit tricky for him, but it's going to give some time in the mid lane for Huhi to do a bunch of damage. Of course, Shifter did not run MR glyphs because he's facing an AD mid laner. Surprise, Rumble does a lot of damage here.
Jeez.
Zingy pushing Huhi out, but that top lane turret's nearly dead.
And Shifter didn't flash away early either because he wasn't expecting that damage, and he was also expecting the 3v1 gank to kill someone fast, but everyone had that expectation of a fast death, therefore no one used spells, and it allows Chunky Fresh a big play that we need to really keep talking about because that's huge for the game. Team Dignitas needed to get that kill back. When they end up trading with such an investment, they lose a ton of map pressure.
And there's a ton of turrets almost dead as well, all around the map. Bot lane had some time to knock the turret down. Mid lane's at like 400 health. Fusion can break this map open so soon in this one. The dual lane, Unafraid Dian, early spell show just to make sure nothing combos. Lands 4 hits on his Boomerang Blade. This is going to be a very soon dead turret. There's still an ult for Sejuani, by the way. If Zingy's not here, they can just tower dive them. Or rebel dive them in this case.
Right, and this will be the moment whether Fusion can actually get an early game edge. In the Challenger regular season, they got this through lane swapping, and now finally in Game 3 against Team Dignitas, they've found a 2v2 lane that they are not losing, and it's allowing them to actually make positive plays on the other parts of the map as well as in the bottom lane. Now we may end up seeing a messed up combo by Kiwi Kid.
Sivir ult, 1 attack on the turret,
Ooh.
but Nintendo too low to dive this, yet in the end, too aggressive by Fusion. They squander some of their health bars, they squander some of their ultimates. They'll still knock the turret down, but there is no chance of a dive, and they're a bit low on resources in case something happens in the backside of this one. I think they could have dragoned if they didn't run out of resources while going for this turret. They're going to try anyway, it looks like.
Wait, no, Kiwi Kid has no flash. Kiwi Kid was trying to flash Pulverize Headbutt.
Yes. A flash headbutt pulverize, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, of course.
No, but I know.
He ended up flash pulverizing and then saving off on the headbutt because it would have been useless. Oof.
Chunky Fresh and Gamsu actually, I feel like Chunky Fresh getting a massive lead, forcing the ulti out, still doing plenty of damage. Gamsu at 600. The Dragon did go to Fusion. They did not take the outer turret yet. Now they will. So Nian actually balancing that really nicely, saying, no, we'll Dragon first while your AD carry recalls, then we'll kill the turret on the backside. So very smart stuff by them. Big lead now, 2,000 gold for Fusion.
Yeah, and they got all the local turret gold onto one player, which allows Nian to complete his Infinity Edge very soon. So mistakes like that, headbutt from Alistair, can happen, obviously.
Of course.
It's fairly common if you don't have a ton of Alistair experience, because in order to pull off the headbutt pulverize combo, right as you start flying with your headbutt, you have to be pulverizing.
Pretty much, yeah.
So basically, Kiwi Kid thought he would flash into range for the headbutt and do it immediately, so he pressed both buttons. But because the headbutt was not in range, it didn't cast, therefore pulverize, since it has no range, cast immediately, and he pulverized the ground, looked like a fool.
He was very angry at the ground, though. It looked menacing. Except for the fact that it was harmless.
Until it wasn't.
Until it was entirely harmless.
Well,
the fiery spirit, the Yordle Inferno is going to keep the bot lane outer turret alive, and Fusion immediately do rotate Sivir back to the top lane. They knock another turret down here. Chunky Fresh.
Get him!
Good damage. Kiwi Kid lands that one. A whole bunch of pain coming through. Chunky Fresh, can he get the ult in time? No, it's down, so he flashes, but why? Takes an exhaust, dies under his own turret.
Well, he thought maybe he could take down Core JJ. Another not super clean dive there by Team Dignitas, but they're getting something back here. Fusion trying to push the other side of the map.
And top tier 2 is going to actually fall down as well. Really nice play by Fusion. The amount of time it took to kill Chunky Fresh bought a lot of it for Fusion to knock down top lane. And so 3 turrets to 1, 2,500 gold lead. Fusion definitely playing around Nian very well.
Yeah, and they're playing around the lane pressure that they can now apply with Zed, hopefully. They might start a bit of a split push game right here. That's what they'd want to do with a home guard first build from Gamsu. They want the Zed to be able to solo him if he can complete his Blade of the Ruined King anytime soon. Fusion will now need to use this early game lead that they've finally been able to get to actually transition this into a longer series.
And they're going to go for the ulti on a shifter. A good bit of damage. Good dodging by Huhi. Uh-oh, here comes the counter engage, though. Nearly dead as his Zed. Nice ulti from Hecarim. Fears up 3, and Huhi is going to be the first kill. Now Gamsu forced to run away, but he's going to die off. Nintendo gets the kill credit on this one, and Kiwi Kid's got nowhere to go. The cow is slain. Beef is on the platter for Fusion, and this turret's going to be dead, too.
It's not the same damage that Team Dignitas has in teamfights anymore. There's no Ziggs to punish those big, clumpy teamfights that we saw there. Zac ultimate was also down from the gank in the bottom lane, and Fusion takes a big win in the mid lane now, 4 turrets to 1.
Really well played. A 2-for-1 team fight and the 1 unanswered turret kill as well. 4K now puts Fusion ahead. Really one of the biggest leads we've seen in this series so far, despite the fact that we had 2 low 30-minute wins so far in the series for Dignitas. Nian stays mid lane. They're going to be able to have that turret pressured pretty soon. Someone's got to respond to that wave. Nian, Zerk Greaves, and most of Zeal probably in the inventory. Watch the fight again.
Yeah, Huhi immediately disengages. Shifter ended up throwing his spells backwards. Sejal missed, but it was in order to get Shifter out of the fight. Then the big thing is when Chunky Fresh teleports in, this giant clump of people gets heavily punished by the Rumble and the Sivir, whereas there's no Zac ultimate and no Ahri damage coming in to punish the group that Fusion had accumulated, and it just became an easy win for Fusion in that fight.
So the team fights look very good for Fusion. The split push, Gamsu's not able to make any headway on Chunky Fresh. The 2v2's not going well for Core JJ and Kiwi Kid. And the 1-on-1, Huhi's holding on to like a 40 minion lead here. Lanes aren't winning, team fights aren't winning. Dignitas don't seem to have a way in, so they will try for the roam plays. Kiwi Kid heads up to the top lane. This turret close to dead, but Huhi seems completely unperturbed by this.
Yeah, he knows he's got backup as well. Chunky Fresh is in trouble.
3 people up here, headbutted in. Charm's going to land. Chunky Fresh has got nowhere to go on this one. Nice knock into the wall. Kill picked up, goes to Gamsu. Good roam.
Yeah, and also notice how Shifter was willing to use his ultimate right away. He didn't have it the last time that he died in the 1v3, but they were willing to commit cooldowns to that kill. They know the threat of the Rumble right now, and they have to take him down immediately. They had a limited window of time in a 3v2 because they did have a support and a jungler there, so getting the kill early was nicely done.
Very nicely done indeed, and Shifter getting himself 3 assists in this game, part of most of his team's kills. Honestly, pretty high kill participation overall for Dignitas. still holding the fan vote. And with a 2-0 lead, you expect that's likely. You could pull a dash and just call a 3 over Dig right here.
Well, they got 2% more of the fan vote.
Yep.
Honestly, this fan vote's been going back and forth. Very close as far as the fan bases go for these teams. Interesting how Core JJ finished his Zeal before his Infinity Edge.
That is a bit strange.
I would say
Yeah.
highly suboptimal.
Yeah, I don't love it. It's okay. He's going to have a lot of attack speed, though, a lot of movement speed, so kiting around will be easy for him. There's the Infinity Edge completed. Okay, so now it looks fine. He's actually somehow matched items with Neon Tonsa right here. The man's managed to catch up and farm.
He's 1,000 gold behind him, but as far as items in inventory, he is equal.
Yeah, so with this Dragon coming up right now, 3,000 gold lead for Fusion, but a lot left outside of the pockets.
Too late, though, I feel like.
That's like no contest whatsoever. Dragon number 2, Fusion well in control of this one. They've now got turret damage, which is good for the split push Zed, of course, who he'll be happy to have that. And we'll see what lanes they go to. Neon's going to actually come from the mid lane for most of this. Chunky Fresh at the bot lane. No teleport just yet, but still you'd want your teleporter to be far away from the next objective, which would likely be Baron. And Zed top lane, because you want a long lane for Zed.
Yeah, and this is the moment in the game where Fusion needs to make up for their problems that they had in, I'd say, the semifinals of the promotion tournament.
Yeah.
They could have easily been in the finals of the promotion tournament had their mid and late game shot calling been better. As of now, since it's still only 20 minutes into the game and they've already killed the outer ring of turrets, you run into that point where actual things and objectives to do are actually running very low. They're going to want to make sure they keep the Dragon prepped on respawn. But more importantly, if you're looking to starve out the enemy in parts of the game here, Fusion needs to get wards inside Team Dignitas' jungle and then start finding picks in the jungle or working on the next ring of turrets of Team Dignitas.
And honestly, sieging is hard for Fusion. Their longest range champion is Neon at 500. Their next is Trance at 475, and then melee. So hitting turrets against like an Ahri, against a whole bunch of melee divers, you just get feared into the turret, and you can't really do that kind of stuff. So Fusion have to rely on the split push. And that was the exact split push that actually made them lose an almost for sure one game in that semifinal, where they got split pushed to death by Seraph on Nidalee. And if Dignitas wants to pull this game apart, it's Gamsu with his Trinity Force, Home Guard Hecarim, 40 minion lead over Chunky Fresh. Eventually this matchup gets too hard for Rumble to win anymore, because he can't burn down the tanks any faster. Who he has to watch his own split push power. Of course, he's got something here, but there's a real chance that Dig can just wait and split the map up themselves and try to get back in through better decision making.
Yeah, something that also is of note in this series is neither of these top laners are going for the teleport smite style. I'd say as far as Hecarim and being able to duel the Zed would be much better off with a teleport smite because he needs a little bit of innate tankiness to deal with the burst. Instead, though,
they can just burst him back, though. Who he at 500 health, pops the Hex Trigger. Goodbye. Crushed.
Yeah, not quite a duel, but it'll work.
Yep. Wow, the hard engage as well. They're okay.
Right there, Huhi was pushed up without the adequate ward coverage. That's a problem strategically for the team. Fusion is stronger as a team, so they can bully themselves into the jungle to get the wards before the split push happens, and they did not do that properly, allowing a gank over the wall from Mazingi and an easy kill for Team Dignitas, not even having to use the Hecarim ult.
And look at this, Gamsu right away gets the bot lane turret under pressure already, shoves the wave all the way, and Core JJ, though, wow, getting crushed by Chunky Fresh. Exhaust, heal, and a flash use. 3 summoners for an ulti. Oh. Chunky flashes back in, but you're a bit alone in this one, buddy. TP comes over Hecarim.
Oh, I thought he had home guards.
I know. He's going to try anyway. Does knock Chunky Fresh back. There's the headbutt pulverize. There's the kill. Gamsu gets it. Hecarim hard carrying right now for Dignitas.
I was so excited for the speedy horse to come in there, but they get the kill anyway. That's...
Yep.
Oh, man. A temporary lapse in judgment for Chunky Fresh. He had done so much to push Team Dignitas back when he burned the exhaust and the heal and the flash. He's thinking, man, I'm awesome.
Let's
I'm
go
so
kill
good.
some people.
Let's make this a play. They're going to burn all this and die anyway. And as soon as he burned the flash, he realized he had made a terrible mistake because, again, he's making a play before his ward coverage allows him to do so. The line of vision does not go beyond this point. Chunky Fresh pushes in.
He's silenced. He can't even Q. He pops W and overheats and is like, whoops.
Not only was it a poor decision, it was poor execution. Nice cutoff there by Gamsu.
Up to this point, Chunky Fresh, even though his scoreline looked bad, was doing so well for his team. He was like getting picked on 2v1, but that was okay because his team fight power is so good. That was the first big, huge mistake. Now a Death Brush attempt for Fusion.
Even in that fight, you can see his damage is very real.
Oh, yeah. And then just gets spotted out. He's like, what's up, guys? Is Zingy, though? Yeah, goes down to half HP, and he here into the back line. CoreJJ, goodbye. Huhi had to start up onto a Zingy, flashes the wall, will stay safe. A beautiful equalizer splits the Zac and a Bloblet. Shifter running away as fast as he possibly can. Dash for part of it. Nien still on the chase. A double kill for Zed. A great charm, and Nien cannot finalize that kill. But top lane is under fire. This turret is already dead. Kibikid still lands the Pulverize somehow because he already started casting it.
How is this a 2-for-1? It looked like a total whitewash for Fusion, maybe even an ace. Everyone on Team Dignitas got away with a sliver of health. Now Fusion looking to take a real advantage off of this by going for Baron, but
Gamsu has ultimate. This
Gamsu's
is really
horse.
risky. Goes in. Wow!
Whoa.
Goodbye one.
How many is he going to get?
Goodbye two. Nien, 10-dude, and Chunky Fresh. That's going to be 3. Oh! No, it's not. Oh my god, are you serious?
8-1-1 on Hecarim right now. Gamsu trying to put Team Dignitas on his back to get back to the LCS.
Man, saddle up, guys. Gamsu is here to gallop his way to victory. Puts the team back equal to gold. Wow.
Oh no.
That's heartbreaking.
That is so crushing for Fusion. It's the fatal flaw of their team. It's the mid and late game shot calling right there. They made one good call, right? In order to get that fight in the jungle, it was a smart move by Fusion. They nearly killed everyone, but you have to know when to stop.
Yeah.
They didn't get everything they should have gotten from the fight. They should have killed 3 to 4 people.
Yeah, but they should have killed top inhibitor turret.
Yeah, instead they overchased. Trance goes down. If that's not warning enough, let's do Baron anyway, guys. And
with a Hecarim with ultimate.
Yep, not tracking cooldowns, not respecting Gamsu's Hecarim. They had an advantage, they were capitalizing on that advantage, and then they overreached. And now Team Dignitas is back in a little bit of control.
Whoa!
He had no ultimate. This is still a winnable game for Fusion, despite that mistake.
Oh, big whiff by Nintendo, though. His ult might as well have been down in the first place. The backline dive, CoreJJ getting crit to death. They're going to pop the ulti from Zed onto a Zingy, but no chase available. He will force the team back. He over dives, gets back, but still drops to Shifter. That's a 1-for-1.
Again, a fight that Fusion starts off well. They overchase and Team Dignitas turns this around. Well, one thing that we don't talk about nearly enough in these games, where we're mentioning all the mistakes that a team is making and how it's their fatal flaw, is the pressure that these guys are under. Look at the path that Fusion has taken to get to this point. Losing in the expansion tournament when they were heavily favored. Being a favorite coming into the Challenger regular season, not winning it, actually getting dropped down into the 3rd place game where they clinched just to be in this promotion tournament, and then with the lead against a more experienced team, losing a lead.
And the fact that they know they've lost so many games from having a big old lead and then not making the right choices. Like, all right, we're not going to give it up. We're not going to get split push to death. We're going to take these kills, finish the team fights out, and take the objectives. Oh god, it happened again. The top laner's carrying them, and we're not getting the kills picked up here. Once again, the engaged Nintendo gets charmed, headbutted back into the team. He's down to half HP already. Gamsu fears him back in. Nintendo unable to retreat, but Trans tries to save him, does so here on this one.
Yeah.
But a lot of ultis burned on this one. Who he's still getting chased out of this one is Zingy. Also chasing on in. Mid lane's going to get pressured out.
Hecarim ultimate burn for just Sejuani might give a window for Fusion to find a fight back. But once again, they have to keep their heads and they have to start making smart decisions. They've lost a lot of control in this game. Fusion does not have vision of the Baron area anymore. So you almost want to think they'd want to group up, push a lane, and force Team Dignitas to show, but they are not grouped.
Going to force the flash away from Chunky Fresh as well. 5-minute cooldown on that Rumble. Huhi and Nien duo mid. There is pressure given up around Baron. Dignitas could trade mid-tier 2, maybe mid-inhibitor for Baron. That might just be the choice made. We're seeing who chooses to recall. Nope, Dignitas going to force to run. Mid-tier 2 goes down. Bot lane has a big wave as well, but Fusion have to get away fast. Thankfully, Trance with Captain Boots makes them run real quick, and Fusion not perturbed at all.
Yeah, that was the right play there when they force up. Chunky Fresh burning his flash was non-ideal, but the play was the Zed and the Sivir running up the lane to pull Team Dignitas out and allow Fusion to reset. Now they can clear the pink wards, they can get the vision inside the Baron, and hopefully catch their breath a little bit. Their split pushing advantage is gone. Their turret advantage doesn't matter anymore because the gold is there and they're not using that map pressure with the split pusher since Gamsu got so fed off of those kills.
Yeah. 2 big tank items on him, only 29 minutes in. He's not going to die to Sivir very easily. Nien takes a risk, goes for Last Whisper third. He can die really fast, but he can cut through tanks. Offense, the name of the game here for Fusion. Can you kill them while they are stunned by Sejuani? Nintendo, for all his early game pressure, has actually missed the last few Glacial Prisons, and the team has been unable to solidify those kills picked up. They might force Shifter to jump away. A great couple of hits right there. It actually, again, only slows them down, but they're going to re-engage. A great equalizer. Kimikid going to be dropped down on this one, but how good is the re-engage going to get? In comes Gamsu, misses everybody. In comes the Zingy, hits everyone this time around. And Huhi and Nien really in a bad spot. Chunky Fresh goes down. Huhi forced to run. 2 kills picked up already. A flash makes it not 3 just yet. But here comes Zach, a great Monsoon, 0 for 2.
Yeah, they burned the Rumble ultimate without a lockdown right there, and it ends up not actually being the zone control they want. Nice re-engage by Dignitas for sure. Zingy coming over the wall on Zach, crushed them a couple of times. Beautiful Let's Bounce by Zach, and now Baron round 3. The first 2 rounds have gone to Dignitas. They're pressing their luck.
When can they peel back? The flash knockback from Kimikid is perfect, and it buys them the Baron. Nintendo does chase 1 kill down, but Gamsu already legendary. Korjay did pick up a 3rd kill on this one. Sorry, a 2nd one. A 2 for 1 plus Baron. Good play by Dig.
Whoa. Pressing their luck was definitely what Team Dignitas did right there. They were so low inside that Baron pit, but Fusion couldn't quite close them down. That Baron on a razor's edge, but based on a couple of big Baron plays, not the typical storyline for Team Dignitas. They're ready to change this. They're pulling ahead in this game. I mean, burning Shifter's ultimate, but once again, the Sejuani ult missed. Why not wait until this moment to use the Sejuani ultimate and lock them down in an equalizer? But once that was missing, Chunky Fresh doesn't immediately run away. He gets pushed back by Gamsu. Zingy lands a 4-man Let's Bounce on his first shot of it, then focuses down Yen, who, as you said, had gone all damage, but could die very easily. That's what happened in this fight. Gamsu continues the chase. They end up burning the Janna ultimate, which Trance needed to do to stay alive. But if they could have somehow avoided that, they would have been healed enough to do Baron. So many small things that could have gone slightly differently that would lead to maybe us having a game 4. Yeah. But as it's trending right now, Team Dignitas looking to win.
They're now up 5,000 gold. They were down 5K at 17 minutes. They've made up 10,000 gold in the last 14. Dignitas absolutely crushing the mid game. They've got a Baron buffed top laner. Gamsu can do whatever he wants. He can push down turrets. He's 9-1 and 3 now in this game. The rest of Dignitas having a team fight around. Kills spread across everyone else. 2 for everyone, whatever. No big deal. It's Gamsu looking to make some openings here. Ward control over the jungle as best they can. Where is the pressure going to be? Shifter clears mid. The rest of Dig still staying towards this bot side jungle. Dragons back up. That would be number 2 for them. Here it goes.
What a sad story if Fusion ends up losing this game. They couldn't quite take their big lead that they had in this game. Now they're in a position where Zed can't necessarily split push nor team fight. His viable targets are decreasing ever more. Kimikid, though, takes almost his whole bar of damage, but there goes Rumble.
Without even ulting Equalizer, not found, an unbalanced equation in this team fight, a 1 for 0. And Dignitas looking to go to the bottom lane now on this one. They've still got Baron buff for 45 seconds. Bot lane tier 2 goes down 4 turrets to 5. Dignitas still down in turrets, but who cares?
Yeah. Chunky Fresh was trying to flank. They didn't even have to burn ultimates to kill him right there. So this is a very easy push for Team Dignitas. If Fusion does not respect this and give up the inhibitor, they could lose the game on this push.
And a great Sejuani ult, I guess, only buys time. There's no follow-up, of course. The big AoE damage. Rumble is not here for another 5 seconds. To burn Glacial Prison means there's almost no chance to win a team fight. Bot lane inhibitor turret will go down now. Zed comes in the back line, looks for Korjay J. Already Huhi explodes, but there's time for Sivir to deal some damage. Korjay J is out of the fight. Kimikid goes down. A Zingy should be split up here. The Righteous Glory ends. The TP from Chunky Fresh will buy some time as they go for Gamsu. The Pony does not have an ulti to get out with. There's an equalizer, buys a bit more time. They can't quite kill him though. Sivir ulti's still down. Trance. Oh, Chunky Fresh gonna land the kill. Fusion looking for a comeback on this one, gets away from the charm. Shifter ults to try to get away. He will escape, but it's only a 2 for 1.
Wow, what a strange turn of events is all I can really say about that fight. Shifter held his ultimate that entire time until the very end of the retreat. Team Dignitas not on the same page there on what to do. Kiwi Kid going down early. Chunky Fresh also cut them off with a nice teleport from Rumble in behind. And it will definitely prolong this game even longer. Gamsu going aggressive build with a Ghost Blade onto Hecarim.
All right, so he wants a bit more damage. Okay.
Yeah, taking a look at this one more time. They were kind of half doing the turret, a nice Gianna Tornado, and they're all pretty low. So at this point, you can see Dignitas is saying run away, just straight up run. But they didn't necessarily have to, I don't think. They had some decent power, especially when Gamsu stalls us out for so long. If Shifter buddies in there with a Q that actually hits Fusion, and then ults for a little bit of damage kind of close to them, he may have been able to dissuade them from coming back. But looking at that again, they were all very, very low.
Yeah.
So they may have got completely aced afterwards. Yeah. It just seemed odd that Shifter held his ultimate so long.
I agree, but, you know, CoreJJ nearly got one shot. A perfect charm, though, off the death mark. It's the only reason he lived at all. So props to Shifter for a very nice charm timing. Yeah, again, health bars, I think, pretty low for this one. Dignitas taking the risk-averse approach. They're still up 5,500, and the bottom inhibitor is open. TP is up on Hecarim. He can pressure that whenever he wants. Baron buff's up in, yeah, right now, 2 minutes. Okay. Easy timer, I can read. 2 dragons still apiece. And Dignitas now playing the waiting game for a short time. Fusion have a lot of ground to make up still. We know their team fight can be incredible. There's only, I mean, this backline is very easy to kill. They don't have a lot of magic just yet. Quicksilver Sash is now here for CoreJJ, and Azonia's for Shifter, so Assassination, not easy for Huhi, but it still Sedge Rumble. That still does a ton of damage.
And especially with how many melees we have in these games, 3 melees per side, and then short-range AD carries, the team with the AoE has the innate advantage in these team fights. Therefore, if Fusion is playing their cards properly, even with this 6,000 gold disadvantage, there's a world where they win team fights handily. A good Sedge ult on top of a good Rumble ult with Zed and Sivir applying area of effect damage can wipe Dignitas clean off the map.
Absolutely. Chunky Fresh, he's only 250 gold away from Void Staff. That's 2 minion waves. You give him a minute flat. That's the time for Baron to come back up. He's going to have a ton of Magic Pen to make a team fight work. Dignitas don't want to wait that long. They're looking at knocking down top lane tier 2 right here. Of course, they keep their big army on the side of Baron. They know that's going to be a very important objective in the near future. As they sit 6,000 gold up, Gamsu able to pressure down this bot lane inhibitor. There is no teleport for Chunky Fresh for quite some time, so Huhi is the one who's going to defend this one. Low enough armor on Hecarim that actually Huhi could win that fight. Right now, out of energy means Huhi can't go for it, but something to watch for.
Once again, Team Dignitas is trying to exploit their teleport advantage.
Yep.
With the Hecarim.
Any engage here would be 5v4, so no way Fusion takes it.
He's getting a decent chunk of damage on this inhibitor. I mean, you can see Huhi really respects the Hecarim with the Ghostblade Triforce.
Go
One
down.
ultimate. Not only do they have the TP advantage, it's just so tricky. Huhi knows he can't 1v1 him because of the Frozen Heart, most likely, and the damage that Hecarim could do. But if Fusion sends 2, then they give up Baron for sure. Yep. Even now, they're still in a bad situation because once Super Minions come in, it's a guaranteed 5v4 for Team Dignitas.
Oh.
All about that TP advantage.
It's tricky. They do recall in Fog of War, but Dignitas just recalled 2 members without Home Guard. And Fusion don't know they can bite.
Yeah, they could have rushed, but
riskily,
they had recalled as well.
All right on the TV for Gamsu. They are rushing this one. No, they're rushing to go for the enemy. Okay, he goes to Ward. Home Guard Ward! Sick gank by Gamsu.
Did it.
And then he loses it to Saber attacks. So,
yeah,
awkward TP.
Interesting. I thought he was going to get a Ward, and then they were just going to peel straight for Baron and start doing it. Instead, they're just going to play off this pink ward.
That Dig don't see.
Once again, if Team Dignitas is patient here, they can bait a bit of a 5v4.
Dragon's up as well. So there's always, oh god, and Dig is trying to bait it, but this ward got snuck in by Fusion. Who's the hero?
Sweep, Kiwi. Come on, Azingi, sweep again. They just started. They think they're clean off here.
Chunky Fresh's ward is there. Now they sweep her. Dignitas going to start out. Here comes the engage. The Fusion, a good equalizer. Already knocked up. Chunky Fresh got to be careful. Kiwi Kid very low. Nien kites safely. A great Glacial Prison forces Gamsu out. They're buying a whole lot of time. Nintendo pops the movement speed buff, and they slow down a lot of Dignitas. Shift, they're forced to kite backwards. Gamsu is recalling to try to home guard back. Give it who he spots him, takes him down with Ignite, a 1-for-0 for Fusion, and these guys are slowly clawing their way back in. Of course, bot lane still pushing in with the dead inhibitor. Fusion go right in for Baron.
Team Dignitas trusted too heavily in their ward control, and finally Fusion found the AoE team fight they needed back in the game.
Oh, you are kidding me. Now here's the recall to collect up this big bot lane wave. An early teleport by Gamsu squanders the bot lane advantage. Fusion take the fight they have to do. And now some time to get back into this game. Only 3,500 down now. Baron buff means they could probably knock down bot lane tier 2. Dragon number 3 is also theirs for rotational power.
And it's a morale boost too, more than anything else. Fusion had been making so many mistakes in order to give this lead back to Team Dignitas. And then, honestly, Team Dignitas not sweeping when Azingi's cooldown on his upgraded sweeper came off. And just a very unsafe Baron play. It finally cost them. Team Dignitas has been making some risky Baron calls. And they didn't have the better teamfight team. We've kind of known this for a while with Sejuani Rumble here. And they line up for the Rumble ultimate right there. Kiwi Kid waits so long for his Alistar ulti, and then Gamsu, instead of ulting in, ults out. They have no way of interrupting the Janna ultimate, which honestly, as a pretty close fight is going here, as soon as Trance starts channeling this thing, the fight is over. He heals him up too much, Team Dignitas can't re-engage. Gamsu recalls in an awkward situation and place. But, still a goldie. This is long from over.
3,700 gold puts Dignitas ahead. It's only 5%, but still meaningful. Blue buff stolen away by Gamsu. 10, 3, and 4 on Hecarim. And he actually, again, he went for that second offensive item, which now is starting to bite him because of how much damage Sivir and Zed and Rumble are putting through onto him. I was considered Rumble. Oh, hold on. Oh, God. Huhi getting knocked back into the team. I think the charm might land as well. Pop's able to go in and just dies right away. The re-engage now. Red buff is on. 200 damage crit still hitting onto Kiwi Kid's backside, but can't do quite enough here. 1-for-0 all the same.
Oh, man. Another Zed split push that is up beyond the ward line without the backup of the team delays this Baron from having a big impact. Nice job by Zingy to continually catch out Huhi, but he has got to watch himself better on Zed.
Yeah, as much as Huhi loves to split push, he seems to work better on the mage split pushes. His LeBlanc, his Ahri, things like this. I think back in the semifinals he played a Diana game and went, no, it was against, I think, TSM Darkness in a game they actually lost. This team was 5th place challenger. They had no reason to lose to them. 0-7 and 0 on Diana.
Ooh.
His melees he just gets a little bit over aggressive, gets caught out. We're seeing it again here on Zed. Just unfortunate for Huhi. I mean, we're seeing great play by Dignitas to catch these guys out, right? They've killed Chunky Fresh 7 times. They've killed Huhi 7 times. Some very good catches. Azingi having a great game, and Gamsu having an even better one. But Fusion need to play their team fight edge. Their Baron buff is now timed out. The bottom inhibitor's at least back up, so the map is somewhat equal. It's a very tense game right here with a 4,000 gold difference.
A lot of it will depend on Nintendo Dex's Glacial Prison and whether or not Chunky Fresh gets caught or lands a good ultimate, because that Rumble Equalizer with the number of melees in this game and the fact that he's got Leandry's plus Void Staff is a fight decider.
Yeah.
The most important spell in this game is Chunky Fresh's Equalizer.
And I got to see how much they can stack the CC. We've got Quicksilver Sashes on Lucian as well as Alistar. In the Baron fight, interestingly enough, the Equalizer was used before Sejuani Ultimate. Everyone dashed out, but the damage was already done. Imagine if they get locked up with a 2-second stun, or 1.75, I believe, is over rank 3. Yeah, it's just like, y'all just die. So Dignitas doing the best they can to kite away from this one. Locket, of course, is done for Zingy, has been for a while. Doesn't seem to be helping him enough. Maw of Malmortius is here for Huhi, so a lot of magic resist on this Zed. He's sitting at 138, as long as he's near the Aegis of Nintendo.
Gamsu is at his strongest point. He is maxed
out for a while
with the Thorn now.
He's sitting on 1,000 gold with nothing to buy.
Yeah.
Literally nothing left to buy for him, so Hecarim is out of items. And I've heard Hecarim called a late-game carry top laner. I actually don't think so. I think he's a snowball-y top laner.
Yes.
He spikes and crushes, but like a 45-minute game, I'd rather have most other top laners.
Oh, wow. Zingy burning his elastic slingshot. Once Hecarim gets item capped, he's not the super damage soak you'd normally see.
Yeah, you eventually tank up.
If he gets in the right position, he will blow someone up, especially with this Ghostblade build.
Yep, Youmuu's Triforce will kill Sivir in a 1v1, but he's got, I guess, I'll just look at his stats, only 3,200 health. Like, that's pretty low for a melee this late into the game, and only 138 magic resist. So as far as tanks go, he is definitely susceptible to Rumble damage, and even a bit to Sivir. Banshee's Veil now done for Nian, so he's going to block a lot of damage from Shifter and Thornmail counter-engage, or Thornmail return.
One thing we have to keep in mind with Hecarim is the fact that with his W, he heals for damage dealt in fights.
True.
So with 290 armor, as long as he's dealing damage or in a fight where damage is being dealt, his max health doesn't matter actually as much as he resists.
True.
Because of how much Hecarim heals.
Yeah, he'll get like 1,000 health or something from the team fight, so that's a good point. More than you might think on his durability here. Capped build for the Hecarim, capped build for the Sivir.
Nian just finishing that.
Yeah. If he goes risky, he could sell boots for a Phantom Dancer, but that's really risky. Maybe they go for the engage. Of course, we've seen a lot of hesitation now on the the Sivir ulti. How do you even play this champion? What's it called? On the Hunt. I was close. First champion I ever played, and I didn't remember the name of the ultimate.
I mean,
I guess I don't read the tooltip anymore because it's been 5.5 years.
I'll give you a break on that one. Sivir ult just, and it's now wasted.
All right, so I'll eat my words on this one. Popped early. They've got to be afraid of this Hecarim, who is split pushing under the bottom lane. Gamsu not specifically counter building the Rumble, but is building against the Zed and Sivir pretty hard.
The timing is very particular here. They're sending 2 people for Gamsu. They can only match 1 with the teleport.
Zingy, good spell shield by Nian to block the knock-up here, and they get it away safely. Kiwi could also pops Righteous Glory, the only one the team has. So no more move speed boosts.
Gamsu is also stacked armor, and he is against a Rumble here, who has a Zhonya's. I don't know if Gamsu can actually take out Chunky Fresh in a duel. Therefore, he's respecting him because he's built to teamfight. He's built to deal with Zed, and he's built to deal with Sivir. He's not built to deal with Rumble.
Funnily enough, though, he's an item and a half behind Chunky Fresh. Chunky Fresh is, I should say. He's sitting on an NL Rod and an open slot with a pink ward in it. So yeah, counter build versus just total inventory value. Something to watch.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? 2 of Gamsu's max items
are armor and nothing else.
Armor and no health.
Yeah.
So it's actually a 3-item Hecarim versus a 3.5-item Rumble.
Fair point.
If they are to duel.
That's fair. And you're seeing it's going quite nicely. Gamsu, though, is able to solo the Dragon. That's actually pretty big. Movement speed picked up for Dignitas, and they're sneaking Baron as well. But guess what? Nintendude spots you guys. It's a recall for Gamsu. He's going to go back up. Home guard has teleport. Bot lane not being pushed out by Chunky Fresh right now. He's actually walking up to join his team, and they're going to start Baron. They're going to force the teleport. It's down to half HP already. Ari off to the side. Here comes the TP for Hecarim. 4,000 health. In comes Zingy in the front lines. How much time will he buy? Several pop. Gamsu up there. A great equalizer, but a great dive on the backside. Exhaust onto Gamsu, and first blood comes through onto Nintendude. These guys are trading kills back and forth. The crit! Nian with a double kill. Now to chase down. Kiwi Kid gonna be his 3rd. Picks it up. A 4 for 2 in favor of Fusion. They don't go for a Baron. They go for the mid lane.
They've lost 2. They have Nian at the back of those fights. He was free hitting that entire time. The dream fight there for a Sivir. And they're going to try and take some inhibitor damage, maybe the game. Those are long death timers we got there for 50 seconds still.
They definitely could. A lot of armor on Chunky Fresh. Nian Tanso does plenty of damage right now, and Trance can shield somebody. Here we go. They are going to take the inhibitor turret. It's going to do quite a bit of damage to Nian. They're going to have to target swap at some point, and here they go. Chunky Fresh now the tank. And here's the minion wave. All right, that is turret number 1. They've got just enough minions to push in for the Nexus itself. Wave getting cleared. Shifter, can he clear the wave? He needs to Q this to
cannon minion too. That's going to be
but
real tricky
here. But a Q would still kill the wave. He's choosing not to get rid of the minions right here. Charms Chunky Fresh, a whole ton of damage. Nearly knocks down the top laner here. It's still going to be a turret kill picked up. R's in. Shield comes up, keeps the team alive. Shifter, 5 seconds to buy until Alistair respawns. But turret number 2 has fallen. There's the equalizer. Now the Nexus. shapeshifter misses the charm, pops Sonya's. There's the Nexus going down, and Fusion actually pulls the comeback. We're going to game 4.
Oh boy. And that was a game.
Wow.
Right there from Fusion and Team Dignitas. Leads swapping back and forth for some questionable reasons. But the one thing that is not in question is how important these games are.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, LCS spot on the line. Fusion needs to win the next 2 to still make it in. They finally proven that they can take a game off of Team Dignitas. They won the early game. That's the important thing. We can talk all we want about how Fusion had a lead and then they threw it and then Team Dignitas made a mistake and Fusion capitalized on that. But the early game that gave Fusion initially that leg up is the important things to focus on.
Yeah.
Both teams will try and minimize as many mistakes as possible heading into the next one. But at least it means it's a series if Fusion can win early games like that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this comes down to Nien specifically. We talked about him in the pregame saying, get out of your laning phase, get to the mid game, be useful. He's got a Rumble on his team, and he's against 3 of the scariest melees in the game on Zac, Hecarim, and Alistar. Still did the most damage in the game to champions. Nien absolutely crushed it this game. His kills in the very last team fight, flashing forward to help chase down Hecarim, everything like that. Kited out the fights well. Only 2 deaths in a bloody game as the shortest range AD carry that's commonly played here in competitive. Not counting Urgot, who's just like a tanky beast in the first place.
Yeah.
Great play by him. Chunky Fresh, yeah, okay, he died a million times this game, but he still got his damage off, was able to equalize their most team fights. It worked for him.
I think we're going to see some adjustments in the pick and ban phase specifically. The fact that in Game 2, Nien had to first pick Sivir in order to control it because Gamsu destroyed with it in Game 1, and then by the time Game 3 rolls around, Team Dignitas used a pick on Alistar instead of Sivir. I don't think that's going to happen again.
Yeah. They also had the option to just play Callisto and win the lane phase again. Instead, they go Lucian, lose the lane, and suddenly the game is broken open.
Yeah, I think Sivir is the key to this series as far as pick control. Maybe we'll see a ban. Maybe we'll see a first pick because they didn't first pick it last time.
True.
It's been a controlling factor in 2 of the wins here.
It has been. And it's going to be the same sides as well, of course, as Fusion's side choice on blue for Game 4. But anyway, for more on that win and Fusion's first of the series, let's send it over to the guys on the analyst desk.
Thank you, Freak. Yeah, bringing 1 game back, again, showing that they're not just going to roll over and die there. So good on Fusion for that. But as they said, Dignitas was in control of that game. Gamsu was insanely fed on Hecarim, hit that 6-item threshold so early, but they did not capitalize on the fact that he hit that 6 items so quickly, and everyone started to catch up.
Yeah, there was a lot of things about this game that stuck out to me. The fact that Chunky Fresh is like 3 items, 40 minutes in the game, still doing a ton of damage on that Rumble, even though they had banned the Rumble previously. So just get him on that champion, he's still relevant. And the thing that really stuck out to me was the team fights from Fusion, because they actually could have won a lot of earlier team fights if Nintendo had landed his ultimate on multiple people. He kind of whiffed a whole bunch. There's 1 in the Baron pit, 1 in the mid lane, and 1 around those fights in the mid lane again. So the fact that they take the fights where he does actually land an ultimate on multiple people, that's the turning point there. So the fact that Dignitas got that huge lead was off of a lot of Fusion misplays, in my opinion.
That's actually a very good point. Fusion was in the lead in the early stages of the game. Through the mid game, they had some misplays and fights, a fair number of missed Sejuani ults. I feel like those Sejuani ults were too targeted at one individual. Right?
Yeah.
It was an attempt to snipe one person as opposed to taking, the approach of like, let me throw it out, get that slow on multiple people. It's at least more effective.
I think that's what he ended up doing in the end. He's like, okay, I just need to peel for Nien, and then we'll win the team fight off of that. So using it more for a peeling tool, the tank wall instead of the backline, is the easier way to execute things, and it does pay off in this team.
Now, Jap mentioned picks and bans a little bit, saying, pointing out the Alistar in that first rotation for Dignitas. I do agree, it seems a little odd to me. However, with those targeted bans at Kiwi Kid, Annie, and Kennen, it kind of points to, is his champion pool deep enough? Why is there such a high priority on Alistar here in this game?
I think, go ahead.
I'm unsure about that too. I mean, maybe he only plays 3 champions, but my guess is that Alistar is a good pick. Even though it's not too good into Janet, but you do have some kill pressure. And the biggest thing this game for their bot lane was that they actually were losing 2v2. Dignitas was behind early on. They had the choice of AD, but they picked one that wasn't the greatest into the Sivir. And we saw this game compared to the 2 previous games where Core JJ didn't have much pressure. He wasn't winning the lane, which he was winning on Kalista, he was winning on the Sivir matchup, and this time he's losing. So that's something that Dignitas needs to keep in mind, because if Quarter and KiwiKid are winning the bot lane, the game is a lot easier for them.
Yeah, it's a weird pivot that I'm not 100% sure about, but Fusion taking the Sejuani first, I think, was the right move, because they took Sivir first, which allows Kalista counterpick. If you take Sejuani first, if they take Sivir in response, you take Kalista. So then you have a good lane matchup, and then you have Sejuani on your team as well. So they actually got both things because they picked the right one first, whereas last game they picked Sivir.
What's odd, though, is that they still chose the Sivir before the AD carry was picked up on Dignitas' side. So there was the opportunity to have the exact same 2v2 matchup as the previous game, and Dignitas opted out of that. So, again, all of this is to say that Jat's point of picks and bans probably looking for some things to switch up here for Dignitas, as they're going to be yet again on the red side, and with the importance of that 2v2 in the bot lane, might put some priority on making sure they get the counter pick there and move away from counter picks in the mid lane. But I do have to say, now moving on to the mid lane, we had Zed versus Ahri, so we kind of moved away from that Ziggs, Lulu, the farm, supporty, AoE type champions onto the assassin champions. And we saw plays out of both of them, but I wasn't overwhelmed by the play on either side. Huhi a couple times overextending, a little bit too confident in his Zed split push play, kind of bit him, a few times.
It's a habit and a tendency that he's had ever since expansion. I first saw him, where he's trying to split push. Sometimes they 1-3-1, and it's like, whoa, the team fight's starting. We don't have our main assassin to take care of their AD carry. So I think it's a big problem, and he doesn't like to group up for the team fights near the mid game. And when he's playing LeBlanc and Ahri, he can kind of get away with it because he has so many escapes. On Zed, he doesn't have as much of a luxury to do that, so that's the more punishable champion for him. But his LeBlanc keeps getting banned for this reason.
All right, the next thing I want to talk about is Dignitas and the Baron here, right? Because Dignitas has a long history with the Baron, but this gaming special, it did not go well at all. And I feel like this, the way it played out was perfectly avoidable, rather.
They were playing the Baron as if they had Kalista. They were thinking, okay, let's start the Baron. We can do it. I mean, but the bigger thing I would say is that they aren't even clearing the wards on the Baron. That's such a big deal. They had one pink ward on a team of 5 people. Come on, like, you can each get a pink ward. That's 5 pink wards, guys. So if you guys each have a pink ward, you can pink ward everything, and you can't just walk in the Baron for free. But they let Fusion have a ward on Baron, saw what they're doing, went on them, got engaged on, lost the Baron, lost the game. It's just, that's not how you play Baron. You need some more vision. You need to make sure they don't have vision either.
Yeah. They had sweepers up too, which was just really confusing because they started, then they swept it, and it was like, oh, okay, I guess we're seeing now, which is really kind of just, you do the steps 1, 2, and 3. You don't go 1, 3, and 2.
Yeah. No, vision play actually was a pretty big factor in this game, and we've ignored it a little bit in the previous games. But yeah, again here, moving into that Baron, they had 2 wards down to Fusion's 6 or 7, and it was a pretty huge discrepancy there, which is surprising to see from the LCS team, right? When you talk about categorizing differences between LCS teams and challenger teams, I think a lot of what people would go to is vision control and objective play. And here, Dignitas was not illustrating a higher level of expertise around those objectives.
That's actually what happens when you have a new jungler and a relatively new support, is because both don't prioritize vision as highly as they're supposed to, and they're not good enough working together to build up that synergy. And that's something that is an issue, and you see both these teams are kind of playing like a challenger team in terms of vision. Both are lacking a lot of vision, both are kind of going for riskier plays, and that's the big glaring error that Dignitas has been making throughout this whole season. And Fusion, I mean, they're a challenger team, so it's kind of expected.
Right.
Yeah. In their defense, though, when you're 6-item Hecarim, you don't have room for wards, so you can't even get a pink ward.
You could get the upgraded green trinket. You have 2. I do want to jump into our replay. We're going to go to that final Baron fight there that sealed the deal and got Fusion back into the game and ultimately the win. So we're going to pull that up on your screens right now. Zarina, I'm going to let you take this one.
So this is actually the very confusing fight for me, because they have the Hecarim in the base, and he starts his TP to home guard immediately in, and his target actually gets out of the pit before he's able to nail him down, and Nintendude holds his Sejuani ultimate until the back line and front line are kind of merged together. So as we roll this clip out, you're going to see how it gets executed. There's about 4,000 HP on it before Zingy jumps in, so it's out of kill range, and they immediately peel off, and they form the line. Gamsu goes in, he's like, oh, that's a juicy hoo-hee, immediately out, and then the Rumble ulti across, they get knocked up, but Core JJ and Shifter aren't there yet, and Nintendo stuns both of them, so the follow-up damage is not there to continue. And it's all about peeling for Nien. He gets exhausted, but then the damage dealers have to escape, and Core JJ takes that crit right as the exhaust wears off. So Nien is able to have great positioning during this fight due to the frontline tankiness of Nintendo and the fact that he held his ultimate for the backline.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty, you know, that shows this how a Sejuani can turn a fight. And if that had happened earlier in the game, perhaps Fusion would have kind of rolled through that game a lot quicker.
And it's funny, too, because he was using it as a counter-engaged tool, which you should use against this type of team. Because they're going to come into you with the Hecarim, right? He's going to run into your face. The R is going to try to run into you. He was overextending for too early in the game.
Yeah, even Lucian, too, wants to kind of get in for those double taps and some burst damage. Well, Team Fusion have kept the series alive with that win and will try to keep the momentum on their side in Game 4 versus Team Dignitas. Stay with us.
Two games down.
Yeah.
This is what they make movies about.
Yeah.
True.
We had to make the games exciting.
They would have never made a movie about us if we just 3-0 Dig.
Yeah, you know.
Nice ulti from Hecarim. Fears up 3, and Huhi is going to be the first kill. Now Gamsu forced to run away, but he's going to die off. Nintendo gets the kill credit on this one.
Jay got Lucian. We can fight this. I'm ulting. Nice. Shifter.
I'm on Alistar.
Nice, Shifter.
Zach and Alistar.
I got Zach.
Nice.
Nice. Wait, no flash probably. Nice.
Okay. Rumble. Oh my god,
Holy
Gamsu.
shit. Wow. Oh my god.
Nice. These guys are trading kills back and forth. The crit! Nien with a double kill. Now to chase down. Kiwi Kid gonna be his third. Picks it up. Fusion actually pulls the comeback. We're going to Game 4.